crazy. I don't know why I'm so nervous about making these damn videos, but it is what it is, and I'm going straight off of the top of the head again. Like I said, welcome to the inside of the mind of Mohawk. So, on today's episode, we got this dude just creeping down this dark meadow, and he's walking down this meadow just enjoying the beautiful sky that's dark, it's clear, it's got huge freaking sprinkles of stars just all through there. You can see the nebulas of everything down there. It's like you were in Alaska at nighttime at the most perfect, you know what I mean, day where you can see just like the whole universe in its glory. So it comes up to this pond where it's like super foggy, you know what I mean, the fog's creeping on top of the little the horizon, I would say, you know. And then he ends up finding this boat on the long side. Got the little lantern, old school, on the side right there. That's showing the dock right there where there's this boat. That's just like you can travel alongside this pond-like thing or wherever it was in the mist, and you got to use the stick to get through. You know what I mean? So he's going through. He gets on the boat. You know what I mean? And this dude's just wearing like the little ninja mask from around. You know what I mean? He's got the whole ninja mask thing going, creeping, and he gets on the boat. He's just traveling along through. And the next thing you know, dude, out of this fog, dude, you got like 6 ninja dudes that just like are creeping out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Ninja like seal. They're like jump up on top of this boat. But before they jump out of the boat, of course, they didn't even break the water, so they didn't even know they were coming. He comes up out of there, dude, and the dude's just like still strolling around. You know what I mean? He's not even phased. He feels that they're coming onto the boat, and he's not even phased, dude. He just comes out. One dude jumps out, boom, tries to stab him from the back, and he just quickly, as soon as he comes in, boom, stabs dude right in the eyeball with the pole. Not even phased, dude. Just knocks him straight back into the water. He already knew what was going down. Next dude jumps straight out of the water. He just pulls that stick out and just whack at there, bro. Just smacks him straight off. He dives straight on, jumps off. The other 3 dudes jump off of the boat, right? They come and try to get his ass. He jumps up and he's like in the midair still on this pole. He jumps out and throws out, comes out of nowhere with these little ninja type things, stabs these people, right? Bing! They come down, they all land on the boat, boat goes down. He jumps still on this little pogo thing, and he's still like in the middle of all this mist going down in this pond that he just barely went onto this boat going. You can still kind of see the candle lantern that was on the dock behind him, and all this is going on. If somebody was on the shore, you couldn't see any of this going down. You could just hear all the splashes and all that stuff going down in the boat, and the grunts and all this. So he ends up taking the dudes out. Dudes floating in the water right there. He ends up landing back down. He ends up fucking just swimming off into wherever the dust was going. You know what I mean? He goes into the water, and the next thing you know, as soon as he sees this glowing. He gets into the water. He sees this glowing light in the water. So he starts swimming towards the glowing light. He's like, what the hell? He goes into this glowing light, and it's like this glass sphere that's under the water, and it's like crazy looking inside. You know, there's like these little orbs that are like tiny, and there's like a bunch of little atoms just like flinging around, and you can just see them like little small fireworks in there, and they're like a tan kind of color, just, and you just see the small, it looks almost like a power ball, you know what I mean? And it's just like floating off, and then he's just like still sitting there looking through the glass thing, and then he can see there's an opening to the bottom that you can get in through, that's like you can still swim in and get into that and to check it out, dude. So he goes in there, boom, he comes out, and he's like looking like amazed at this thing, dude. And he finally goes and he gets closer to it, and he can feel the heat radiating off of this thing. So he touches it, dude, and the next thing you know, he just feels like the power of it, dude, just like starts surging in. The orbs just swoop in through his like fingertips when he had grabbed it, and he could just feel like all that, the minerals and like the power of it, you know what I mean, of this light just start flowing through his bones and creeping through all that stuff, and you can still see it glowing through, laminating all of his skin, and like you can see like his arm kind of starting to glow, and he's just like freaking out, dude, and he's like, oh my god, what's going on here? And next thing you know, he jumps back in the water trying to cool his arm because he feels the hotness starting to seep through the bones and feeling into his core, and then he starts feeling it going through the rest of his body, and he's just like swimming through the water fast. He's like, oh my god, freaking out, and he's like starting to freak out, and he's like trying to like brush it off him, but at the same time he's like just trying to swim up to get air again down, and dude, he is just like, he doesn't even notice that he's just like flying through the water, dude, just super speed, bro, and he's just like still trying to fight all this stuff that's going on, and he gets out, jumps straight out the water, dude, and he's like, somehow he's by shore already, and he jumps straight out there, lands onto the shore, dude. He comes out, he's like freaking brushing his stuff off, so he's like, oh my god, what's going on? And he's just starting to feel so much power radiating through him, and the next thing you know, these other ninja dudes just start breaking out of nowhere. They're just like, oh my god, freaking coming out the woodworks, dude, and everybody just starts rushing on him, and he's just like freaking out still, like, what am I doing? What do I do? What do I do? And the next thing you know, dude, he just starts trying to defend himself, and he's hitting this dude. He catches this dude's arm, just punches him straight in the gut, dude, and just uppercuts that dude, throws him at the other ninja dude, and he's still like at the same time like fighting all this off. He's like, oh my god, what's going on? And then the other dudes are still trying to rush at him and trying to capture him, and actually he's just sitting there whooping ass, pink, 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 and then just kicking dude in the face, drop kicks this dude, elbows the next guy behind him, spins around and kicks the other guy straight in the face, dude, and then he grabs the other guy by the throat and just slams him straight to the ground, snaps his neck, dude, jumps back, elbows the next guy right in the mouth, and then he's just jumping back and still fighting off all these other ninja dudes that are running up on him. And the next thing you know, dude, he just like punches right through this dude with the arm that was like, it was really hot and like that was glowing, and he just blows right through this dude's gut, bro. And the rest of them just look at him amazed, and he's just like, oh my god, like what's going on? And the dude just felt so good. And next thing you know, he just starts judo chopping all these people, wakate, 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 just snapping people's necks one neck at a time, wakate, you know what I mean? Elbows and kicks, and he ends up running, and he's still like trying to figure out what's going on. He ends up taking off into this jungle back where he was going through. And it was still nighttime, foggy, you know what I mean? All this is still going down. And he's just like trying to get his shit together. And he sits down in this tree, dude, and he's just like, oh my god. Next thing you know, this dude's coming, a wire comes through his neck and tries to catch him, and he ends up quickly grabbing it with his hands. And he's still trying to find him. These niggas just coming at him left and right. And the next thing you know, the ninja tries to get him really quick, and he ends up spinning him off from the wire, pulls him through to the tree, knocks him out, and actually he jumps to the back, and then he just kicks the whole tree down, dude, because he just like couldn't take it anymore, and he's just like, oh my god, starting to see that he's actually very powerful, and that whatever was going through him just had a whole different like super effect on him. So the next thing you know, he just takes back off running, and he's just still trying to figure out what's going on. And then this other dude just like comes out of nowhere, dude, just lands straight smack dab in front of him, and just like everything within like a 10-foot radius just like demolishes and just gets thrown to the side right there. And it's just, everything is just like boof, like a shockwave. And he's just standing there. He's just like, oh my god, like what's happening? Still, like there's so much unfolding at once. And then he ends up getting in this fight with this dude. So he ends up catching him, swings on him. He's just like, all right, thinking he's gonna hit him like the other dudes. No, homie catches his fist, dude, and just next thing you know, they just start going at it. Boom, he tries to swing at him at the other one, and he catches that fist, and then he starts throwing knees, and then they're just like catching each other's, you know what I mean, hits. And then dude tries to swing over, catch him with an elbow straight to the top of the head, and they end up catching each other with the same move, elbow, and then there's like a shockwave that blasted them backwards, and then they ended up stopping and looking at each other, and then all this is going down, ninjas ended up surrounding everybody, and then it ended up being like some crazy like showdown, dude. And then next thing you know, dude one ends up jumping straight at him that had the glow swords through him, and then the other guy jumps straight at him, same thing, and then he ends up going to swing at him, and the other guy ends up swinging at him, and then both of them end up getting caught by whips, and then they ended up getting smacked down straight to the ground. And then it was like the shaman dude of the whole freaking like village of wherever they were at just like looks at everybody and is just like, yo, this isn't the way to do it. And he ends up smacking both of them. Both of them end up looking at each other, and they look at it, and they try to go at each other one more time, and he has the whip still connected to him, and he ends up smacking them straight into each other again, both face first, and then he ends up smacking both of their faces straight into the ground, and then both of them are just like fucked up right there, and they're like, oh my god. And he's like, I told you this isn't gonna go down like this. This isn't the way to do things. We have rituals and we have traditions. And then they're just like, oh my god, what's going on? So both of them actually end up taking off and going to this dude and trying to attack him. And then this dude ends up releasing the whips and takes out these cool little like nunchuck things where they're not nunchuck, but they're like sticks that are connected. And like he ends up catching one dude straight in the jaw. Dude just rips his face apart, dude, and dude's just out of commission. The other dude that had the light going through him, he tries to catch him a couple times. He ends up swinging on him, but the dudes end up like not even getting phased and just moving, ducking and dodging his head, just dodging all of his punches, and then he just catches him with a knee straight into the gut, dude, in the shoulder plex, and all the dude's wind just completely released from him. He just drops straight to the ground, and he's telling him, he's like, I gave you guys a chance to be nice, and he's just completely just smashes his face straight into the ground with his foot. And he just looks back at all the ninjas, and he's like, this is what happens when you don't listen. There's this discipline, and there's nobody here that can state any way of saying that these two weren't wrong in doing what they were doing and not listening, and this is what the consequences is. And that's, he just like beats the crap out of both of them again, even though they're already down, and he just like makes an example out of them. And it ended up being like this ritual of like a village that was there that was like actually peace and harmony, but they ended up bringing a lot of chaos to the place. And then he ended up wiping them straight off and making an example, and everybody, the ninja society that was there, ended up mucho taking it easy. And they ended up understanding that if you fight and don't listen, that there needs to be reason, and there could be war, and there could be consequences. And then he ended up like just making that example through, and everybody moved on with their lives, and that was the end of the story. The end. On to the next one, and actually, we'll be getting back to more stories here soon. All that straight off the top of the head. And I'll be trying to come out with a story every day, at least one or two. And stay tuned, because things are going to be getting better. And if you guys got any comments or anything that I can or can't be doing, just let me know. And I appreciate you guys taking the time of watching this. And believe me when I tell you, there's going to be a whole lot more. And I appreciate everything that you guys do. And sorry for the nervousness. This is going to get whipped out real quick though. All right?